Hi friends, this is Vishal Nadapura. Welcome to a lecture series of linear programming problem. In part 1, which was last lecture, we have seen introduction to the linear programming, terminology of the linear programming like decision variable, objective function, constraints or limitations, feasible solution, optimal solution. And then we have seen application areas of the operation research, particularly in context with the linear programming, then assumption and advantages of the linear programming, then limitations of linear programming, and lastly, we had seen a couple of example of formulation. Today, we are going to learn about one more example of the formulation, and then we will see a couple of method to solve the linear programming problem. So let's start with the problem of formulation. Here, the example is given of formulation, but it is of minimization case. So here, example of patient is given on minimum requirement of nutrition for the patient. A patient consults a doctor to check off his ill health. Doctor examines him and advise him that he is having a deficiency of the two vitamins, vitamin A and vitamin D. Doctor advised him to consume vitamin A and D regularly for a period of time so that he can regain his health. Doctor prescribed tonic X and tonic Y. So these are the two tonics from which a patient may get vitamin A or vitamin D, or either vitamin A and D both, which are having vitamin A and D in certain proportion. Also advise the patient to consume at least 40 units of vitamin A and 50 units of D, vitamin D daily. The cost of tonic X and tonic Y and the proportion of the vitamin A and D that present in the X and Y are given as per this table. So here, as per the table, there are requirement of two vitamins, vitamin A and vitamin D. And for that, there are two tonics available for that particular patient, which is X and Y. For the tonic X, the 2 unit of vitamin A is available, and from the tonic Y, 2 unit of vitamin A is available. But the daily requirement of the patient is minimum 40 unit of vitamin A. At the same way, vitamin D from the tonic X, vitamin D is 3 unit, and from the tonic Y, we get the vitamin D of 2 unit, and minimum requirement of this vitamin D per day is 50 unit. And regarding this, the cost is also given that tonic X, or the 1 unit of tonic X is 5 rupees per unit, and tonic Y is 3 rupees per unit. So from this given data, uh, formulate the LPP or formulate the linear programming problem is to minimize the cost. So our objective function must be from this statement, or from the last statement, which is here, formulate the LPP to minimize the cost. So from this sentence, we can say our objective function must be a minimization case, particularly here the minimization of cost. And in the context of this minimization case, our cost coefficient must be this unit of X and unit of Y here, say 5 rupees and 3 rupees here. So for this problem, first we will consider a decision variable for this problem. So here, what is our requirement? Our requirement is daily gaining of, or daily unit of vitamin A and D from tonic X and tonic Y. So, and the cost is given also of tonic X and tonic Y. So here the requirement is to find out the amount or the quantity of tonic X and tonic Y from which the patient can fulfill his daily requirement of 40 units of vitamin A and 50 units of vitamin D. So first we will consider a decision variable. Say X is the number of unit of product X, say tonic X, and Y is the number of unit of product Y, say tonic Y. So here X and Y is our decision variable. Here you can take X1 and X2 also. So after considering the decision variable, let's finalize as it is already given, say objective function. Objective function here is to minimize the cost. So objective function is minimize z equal to. Now here, as the cost is to be minimized, then the coefficient of this object decision variable here must be a cost coefficient, which is given here 5 unit or the 5 rupees per unit for x and 3 rupees per unit for y. So the cost coefficient for x will be 5 and cost coefficient of y will be 3. So minimize z equal to 5x plus 3y. So this is the objective function, and it must be clear that it is a minimization case here. Now let's move on the constraint. Constraint here is the per day limit or per day requirement is 40 unit for the vitamin A, and for the vitamin D it is 50 unit. But for that we have to gain these two unit or these two vitamins of amount 40 and 50 respectively from the given tonic X and Y. So let's consider first constraint for the vitamin A. So for the vitamin for the vitamin A consideration, if you take 1 unit of tonic X, you will get a 2 unit of vitamin A, and from the 1 unit of vitamin Y, you will get 4 unit of vitamin A here. So for that constraint, for the 1 unit, say X or small x, twice X. So here twice X, it is the amount gain of vitamin A from the tonic X, and 4 times the number of unit of Y, which is considered as a here Y. So 2x plus 4y. But keep in mind here, as it is the minimization case, and as it is given from the data that patient required a minimum amount of 40 unit of vitamin A. So you have to apply a condition or the inequality condition like greater than or equal to, not a less than or equal to. When a less than or equal to is applied when the maximum limit is given to you. Here the minimum limit is given to you that vitamin A is required minimum of 40 units. So the summation of both these two or the any value of X and Y will must satisfy this condition. They say the summation of both this term must be equal to or greater than 40. So this is the constraint for the vitamin A. Now let's consider for the vitamin D. Inequality for vitamin D or constraint vitamin D is again twice times the X 2 plus 2 times y, that must be greater than or equal to 50 here. So here 3x plus 2y must be greater than, because here again a requirement of D is 50 unit minimum per day. So these are the two constraints of vitamin A and vitamin D. No other constraint is given here. So this is the constraint for vitamin. And last but not least, and one must not forget the constraint of non-negativity, and which is equal to X and Y or all the decision variable constraint here that must be greater than or equal to 0. This is the ultimately we can say it is a feasibility condition, because we cannot take a negative value or negative 2 tonics of X or negative 3 tonics of Y or anything else. So in that case, X and Y must be greater than or equal to 0. So that is complete formulation for this minimization case. After completion of the formulation, let's move on to some technique to solve the linear programming problem. So let's have, there are 4 methods to solve the linear programming problem. First one is the graphical method, another is the systematic trial and error method, then vector method and simplex method. In graphical method, we will use the graph, or we will take the f of graph, and this is used only when there are maximum 2 decision variable are available. If any problem has a more than 2 decision variable, then this graphical method cannot be useful. Then systematic trial and error method, it is an as usual, as we can see for the solution of many problem in quantitative techniques, say trial and error. By putting some set of value, we will just analyze or we will just observe the solution, and if this solution is not suitable for us, then we will again change the set of value of the decision variable and then calculate the solution. And so by this method we can get the optimal solution. And another method is vector method, or in other case it is also called as a matrix method, in which all the constraint and the decision variable are converted into the matrix form, and then we will go for solution or optimal solution. But the last and the most important method is simplex method. As the name itself indicates, it is a very simple, though it is a little bit calculative method, but it is simple in comparative this all other methods, because it will go through a systematic way. There is no requirement of any trial and error method, and no requirement to consider all the vectors and so on. So this method, simplex method, it is a very simple in among all these three. In fact, graphical is also simple, but the graphical method has a limitation of only two constraint. Two decision variable. Whereas in simplex method, no limitation of decision variable. For more than two decision variable, you can apply simplex method. So let's start the graphical method. Before going on method, we will first see the solution, different definition required to calculate the solution or consider the solution of an LPP. First one is the solution. What we call solution? Solution is the set of values of the decision variable that satisfy the constraints of an LP problem is said to be considered the solution of that LP problem. So it is nothing but the value of the decision variable or certain value of the decision variable. The decision variable must be x1, x2, x3 up to xn that must satisfy the constraint given or the constraint formulated during the formulation. It is called as a solution. Now, feasible solution. Feasible solution is specific type of solution in which the feasibility condition must be satisfied. What is that feasibility condition? Let's see. The set of values of decision variable, okay, this is solution. But the set of values of the decision variable that satisfy all the constraint and non-negativity condition simultaneously. So solution for any problem, for any value of x and y, you can get some solution. That is called a simple general solution. But if the solution is feasible or not, that is decided by these two conditions, that all the value of decision variable that satisfy the constraint and non-negativity condition simultaneously. In that case only, this solution is called as a feasible solution, and we will always go for feasible solution. Feasible solution ultimately also called as in layman term, you can say it is a practical solution or practically possible solution. Then infeasible solution. Infeasible solution is just a reverse of this. Say if the set of value of decision variable xj that do not satisfy all the constraint and non-negativity conditions simultaneously. So in all 3 or 4 or 5 constraint and non-negativity constraints, so we can say it is 5 or 6 constraint. If any one constraint should not satisfy by this feasible solution by the value of this decision variable, then this is called as a infeasible solution. Then basic solution. These all are the some subtype of specific type of solution. Basic solution. Basic solution we get by setting a total number of let's see by definition for the set of m simultaneous equation in n variable, n is greater than m in an LP problem, as solution obtained by setting n minus m variable. Here m is the number of constraint and n is the number of variable. So when you set n minus m number of decision variable equal to 0, n minus m, n again repeat, n is the decision variable and m is the number of constraint. And when you set the n minus m number of constraint and decision variable equal to 0 and solving for the remaining m equation, and this m variable is called as a basic solution of the LP problem. It is quite difficult to understand, but that we will see in detail during the solution of the problem. So here just understand that n minus m variable, if you put the value of 0 of n minus m variable and solve the remaining problem with the remaining m variable, then you will get the solution which is called as a basic solution. And the n minus m variable whose value did not appear in the basic solution are called as a non-basic variables. So the n minus m variables value or the variable n minus m is which is not disappear, it is disappear or which is not present during the solution, it is called as a non-basic variable, and those are present during the solution. This is called as a basic variable. Let's see another definition, which is basic feasible solution. So this is the combination of two conditions, say feasibility condition and basic solution condition. Feasible solution of an LP problem, which is also called as a basic solution, is called as a basic feasible solution. So the feasible solution, which is also a basic solution, it is called as a basic feasible solution. Then optimum basic feasible solution. So when we get the basic feasible solution, if this basic feasible solution is optimum, say either maximize or minimize as per the given case or as per the condition given in the objective function, then this is called as a optimum basic feasible solution. A basic feasible solution that optimizes, say maximize or minimize as per the given condition, the objective function value of the given LP problem, it is called as a optimum basic feasible solution. Then unbounded solution. So unbounded solution, it is the solution in which you get a value of decision variable of the decision set of decision variable such that the value of objective function will either increase infinitely or decrease infinitely. Then this type of solution is called as a unbounded solution. So let's move on the method. Very first method is the graphical method. First, we will see the characteristic of the graphical method. Graphical method is used on when only two decision variable are available. For the more than two decision variable, this method is no more applicable. Always the solution to the problem lies in the first quadrant. This is just because of the given condition of the non-negativity condition. Always we consider the value of the decision variable is always positive or greater than or equal to 0. So according to this condition, our solution must be lie always in first quadrant. Sometimes it is necessary to draw a line in remaining quadrants, but solution will not lie in that quadrant. This method provides the basis for understanding the other methods of the solution. So if you understand the graphical method very clearly, then it is very easy to understand the coming methods like simplex method and simplex method. In simplex method, there are two sub methods, which is a big M method and a two-phase method. So for this all methods, if you understand graphical method easily, you can understand this method very easily. Okay, now move on the example. Let's see the first example, which is here given maximum. It is actually it is given here maximize z. So maximize z equal to 3x1 plus 2x2, and the constant given is x1 plus x2 less than or equal to 80, 2x1 plus x2 is less than or equal to 100, x1 is less than or equal to 40. So here x2 is not given, so you can consider here at a plus x2 with 0 coefficient. So when any variable is with 0 coefficient, need not to write here. So consider this is a x1 plus 0 x2 less than or equal to 40. And lastly, x1 and x2 is greater than or equal to 0, say non-negativity condition. So during the solution of the graphical method, or by the graphical method of any problem, first consider all the constants given as an equation. So consider this equation, this inequality sign x1 plus x2 equal to 80. So forget about this inequality sign and consider this as a equation. Say a second constant 2x1 plus x2 is equal to 100, and x1 plus 0x2 it is equal to 40. So this is just for understanding purpose and for the calculation purpose, because inequality sign or unequal equation we cannot draw perfectly on the graph. So we must have to consider all these constraints as a equation and consider this all equality sign as a equality sign. After considering this, what is the requirement or what is our goal is just to plot all this equation into the graph. So for plotting of the graph, say this is the first equation, and to plot this line or the equation, as it is a linear equation, so we get the line from the graph, and to draw a line we must require at least 2 points on that line, and for getting the 2 points on this line we will use as usual method say first consider x2 equal to 0, you will get the value of x1, and then put x1 equal to 0, you will get the value of x2. So by this way, first we will put the value of x1 equal to 0, then we get 1.0 times, if you put the value 0 here, you will get a value of x2, it is equal to 80. So this is the point 1 which lie on this line, x1 plus x2 is equal to 80. And by putting the another value, by putting the value of x2 equal to 0, we get the value of x1. So if x2 equal to 0, then we get the coordinate of x2 here, and x1 equal to 80. So we get 2.080 and 80, which must lie on this line. The same way you can calculate 2 point which lie on this line, 2x1 plus x2 equal to 100. So in that case only, if we put the value of x2 x1 equal to 0, then x2 equal to 100. The same way, for the another point, put x2 equal to 0, then you will get x1 equal to 50. So here the value is 50 of x1 and x2 is 0. And here x2 is equal to 0, so no need to calculate any point which lie on this line, x1 equal to 40, because x1 equal to 40, it is just a vertical line. After getting this point, just consider a simple graph like this, in which the vertical line or vertical axis is x2 and horizontal axis is x1. So in this way, we can apply only, we can use the axis as per the requirement of this decision variable. And this is the reason why we cannot use more than 2 decision variable in graphical method, because it is very difficult to consider 3-dimensional volume in paper. So in graphical method, we will use only a problem with only 2 variables or 2 decision variables. Now what we have to do during after the calculation of this point, just see the limit of this value of x and y. So first element is the value of x, say x1, and second element is the value of x2. So here we can say the limit of x1 is 0, 0, 80, 50. So what you required here is just divide this horizontal line into 10 100 equal parts, let's say 80 equal parts here. So by considering just draw a line here, for the sake of simplicity, I will divide this into 2 parts only. This is the 40, this is consider it multiply by 10. So this is a 4, this is the 6, and this is 8 here, and here unit is multiplied by 10 times. The same way here also, divide the vertical line into 100 equal parts. We will divide into part equal to 20. So it is 40 and 20. So it is 2, I say 20, 40, 60, 80, and 100. And use here, it is a multiply by time 10 times. So after drawing a perfect line, here it is 20. I will draw here just only. So after getting or after drawing a graph, if you have a readily available graph, then no need to draw this line directly. You can put the value or the scaling of the graph. Now after getting this, let's try to plot the equation 1, which is x1 plus x2 equal to 80. So from this equation, we get 2 points which lie on this x1 plus x2 equal to 80 line, which is first is the 0, 80. 0, 80 is x1 equal to 0 and x2 equal to 80. So x1 equal to 0 is here. This is the x1 equal to 0 line, say x2 axis, and y to x2, a limit of x2 is 80, or the value of x2 is 80 here. So 1 point is lie here. So 1.080, it is here, which lie on x1 plus x2 equal to 80, say constraint number 1, and another point is 80 0. 80 0, say x1 equal to 80, x2 equal to 0. x2 equal to 0, so it is an x1 or x-axis here, and 80 line, so another point is lying here. And draw a straight line which must pass through all these 2 points. So let's say this is not passing through both the point. Let's consider a line which passing from both this point. Now the important thing is that our solution will lie somewhere here, either in this equation, either here or in this equation. So how to calculate which or how to consider which area is applicable, or our solution is lie in which area. So for that we have to consider the previous inequality sign, which is less than or equal to sign. When the sign is less than or equal to, then the solution must lie towards the origin. So less than or equal to will indicate the value of this x1 and x2 must lie towards the origin. So our solution will lie in this area. So this area does not contain any solution. Now after this, let's try to put a line of second constant, which is 2x1 plus x2 less than equal to 100, which is here 0, 100, which is the 1.0. Value of x1 is 0, so it is the x1 here. So this point is 0, 100, and another point is 50, 0. So 50, it is midway somewhere here. It is the 50, 0, because 0 is the x1 equal, x2 equal to 0 and x1 equal to 50. So again, I draw a line which must pass from this true equation. And again, it is a less than or equal to type, so our solution is lie from this in this region. So this region again contain no solution for our problem, and this constraint is also does not contain our solution, because this constraint does not satisfy the constraint number 1, and this area does not satisfy the constraint number 2. So which satisfy the both the constraint is this much area only. But one may argue that why it is limited to this line only, say x1 and x2. It may lie here because all this area must satisfy these 2 constraints. But keep in mind this non-negativity constraint. First draw this, when you draw this non-negativity constraint here, then the value of x1 and x2 is greater than or equal to 0. So when you draw a line x1 is greater than or equal to 0, so the value of x1 is positive here, and here the value of x1 is negative. So when you draw this constraint here, then we can draw a line like this, and our solution must lie from here to here in this direction only. So by this way, second constraint does not contain any solution, which violates the condition x1 is greater than or equal to 0. The same way, the x2 is greater than or equal to 0 is lie as a horizontal line which passes through this origin OO and this axis, and thus we can say the fourth quadrant, which is below this x1 line, fourth quadrant is also not contain any type of solution or any feasible solution. So after considering all these 3 graphs, we get the graph like this. Say here you can easily visible. Say this is the line of the constraint number 2. This is the line of constraint number 1, which is x1 plus x2 is less than or equal to 100, and the solution will lie on this side because it is sign is given here as a less than or equal to. Keep in mind, if the sign is given here as a greater than or equal to type, then this arrow must lie in this equation. So our solution will lie above this line if it is given as a greater than or equal to. This might be the case in many problems, but here we did not have to consider this problem. So we will erase it, and our solution will lie only in first quadrant. And this is the second constraint, and second constraint will say our solution will lie below this line, and x1 and x2 is greater than or equal to 0. So this area is x1 is greater than or equal to 0, and sorry, yes, x1 equal to 0, and this area will indicate it by x2 is greater than or equal to 0. So this area violates the condition number x1 is greater than or equal to x2 is greater than or equal to 0, and this area violates the value x2 is greater than or equal to 0. So our solution will not lie here. Here x1 is we will not plot the graph of x1 is less than or equal to 0, but here we have plot the graph x1 is less than or equal to 0 because the value of x1 is 40 along this line, and it does not have any relation with x2, or for the any value of x2, x1 is always 40 here, and the value of x1 is less than 40 on left hand side, whereas in right hand side it have a value larger than or greater than 40. So this area does not included into the solution. Here the highlighted area with the yellow color is called as a feasible region, because all the feasible solution will lie in this region only. As the if you recall this definition of the feasible solution, then feasible solution is the solution which must satisfy all the constraints as well as non-negativity constraints simultaneously. So here, this our solution will lie somewhere in this region, and as it is the region, we call it as a feasible region, in which somewhere our feasible solution will lie. Whether it is optimal or not, we cannot say here, but our solution will lie in this region. So now how to get the solution from that? So for that, just consider the extreme point or the corner point of this feasible region. Here, the corner point is one corner point is origin, say 0, 0. Another another point, extreme point or the corner point is here, which is 0, 80. Another point is here that we cannot say directly by observing the graph. And another point is here that also we cannot say by observing the graph. If you draw the graph as per the scale, then you can say for this point, say here the value of x1 is 40 and value of x2 is 20. If you draw a horizontal line here, then another point is extreme point is here, which have a coordinate of equal to 40. Say x1 equal to 40 and x2 equal to 0. Now these all are the possible solution or the possible feasible solution of this problem. Now let's move on the optimality condition. So for this problem, we get the point of this graph. How to calculate of this graph, or okay, this is the graph which lie on the scale which already we have considered. But what happen if this is not this point does not lie on the given constraint? In that case, you can solve the two equation of this of the intersection line. Here, this point is the result of intersection of these 2 points. Say two line, which is x1 plus x2 is equal to 80, and another is 2x1 plus x2 equal to 100. Then if you want to calculate, or if you want to exact answer of this intersection point, then you have to solve the two equation x1 plus x2 equal to 80 and 2x1 plus x2 equal to 100. By solving these two equations, you will get the value of x1 and x2, and that is our intersection point in this case here. So here we get the coordinate of value of all this extreme point. Now calculate the value of z at all these points. Say we calculate the value of objective function z equal to by putting a value of each and every point. Say first by 0, 0. So value of x1 is 0 and x2 is 0. Then the value of z is again 0. If you put the value of 0, x1 equal to 0 and x2 equal to 80 here, then you will get the value of z. Say x1 equal to 0, so this term will be 0, and value of x2 is 80. So you will get the value of z equal to 160. And by this way, by putting 20 and 60, so by put x1 equal to 20, so it is 60, and by 60 here 20, so it is again 180. And then calculate the value of z at each and every point. Say at this point value of z is 0, at this point value of z is 160, here the value of z is 180, here the value of z is 160, here the value of z is 120. Now again check, after getting this all solution, but we required here the optimal solution, and optimality condition is as per the given problem is maximization. So consider or the select the value which have a highest value or the maximum value of z, and which lie here is at this point, which is a 180, and the value of x1 is 20 and value of x2 is 60, and the value of z, say objective function, is 180, which is maximum here. So we get 5 point, which is on the feasible region or the extreme point, and we calculated value of z at each and every point, and after the calculation of this value of z, we will consider, or we have selected a maximum value which is as per the given condition of the objective function here. So by this way, we get the solution of the given LP problem, which is given here. Say x1 equal to 20, say as per the condition of the optimum value, x1 equal to 20, x2 equal to 60, and maximum z equal to 180. So this is the given, this is the solution of the given LP problem. So by this way, systematically, we can calculate, or we can calculate the objective value of the objective function where the given condition and the given constraint are satisfied. So that is all for friends. We have completed here the problem or the solution of this given LPP with the help of graphical method. Okay, thank you friends.